Good morning, everyone. All right. So, yesterday I talked about how failure is essential for growth. And if you want to live a good life, you're going to have to grow regularly. One of the things that was the strong emphasis was that failure is not only something that occurs, but it's something that is essential for your basically growth and happiness. Now, one thing that I didn't include was some obvious things to fail at. I know that sounds strange, but what are some things that you can fail at, assuming you don't have some bold plan to do in your life that you've been, not doing for a few years? But here are four things that you could do that you could do pretty much immediately that you probably thought was impossible, but they are not. Number one, start making videos just like I'm doing now. One of the motivations for me to do videos in the first place was that it put me into a level of discomfort because as a writer and as a philosopher, I always want to have my ideas perfectly right. I want to be able to answer every question. I want to be able to show that I'm well researched and etc. But here's the problem: you can't know everything. Are you going to wait until you're 100, where you've read another 1,000 books or something before you commit anything to paper? Well, that's absurd. You'll never get anything done. You have to be able to work in the process to go through those learning phases. So substantial videos, as I say, substantial. You're genuinely trying to help somebody. You're communicating ideas that you think are valuable to somebody. So, and everybody knows there's a bunch of insubstantial or nonsense videos out there that they just kind of just are parasites on your life. They don't nourish you. They don't make you a better person. They just stole your 5 seconds, minutes, hours. They don't make you a better person. So if you do something that is of substance, that presumably will help you develop as a person and help others, that's something you could do immediately. And it will make you uncomfortable unless you just really like talking to people. Myself, I'm not particularly social. I'd rather read books, have a discussion about philosophy or theology or something like that. But I'm not somebody that goes out and is always socializing. Okay. So start making some videos. Two, write a book. That sounds crazy, right? Unless you're a writer, which you have thought of it, um, go find something that you know about. And if you're more than 20 or 30, 40, it's likely that you have several types of expertise that you could offer somebody. The process of organizing your thoughts, committing it to paper, putting it in a document, going through those stages will develop you as a person. And just go to a bookstore. You'll find out there's a ton of books that are just absolutely terrible. There are tons of terrible authors out there. But here's the thing: they put their thoughts together and they published it. And even if you don't go the traditional publishing route, they're self-publishing. But the very fact of you going through those things, and most people will say, well, it's a waste of time or it's too hard. But that's the point. Going through something that it forces you to go through a type of failure. Next, apply to a job that you think is above your head. Most people don't get what they're worth is because they don't assert what they're worth. And also that it goes through all of those levels of failure, as I've been, alluding to. Start applying to jobs, which also gets you interviews. It also gets you rejections, but it also makes you start thinking through what you need to do in terms of self-development. So even if it starts the process of failing, that's actually something you want. So you want to fail. You can't move forward and progress until you start doing that. So go find your dream job or find some job that you think you're not qualified for, but start shooting for it and then start making the necessary steps to become qualified. Next thing is this is slightly glib, pretend that you're an adult and have rational discussions with friends and family. Um, if you can't talk about substantial things, um, that's just sad. Okay. So if you can't tactfully talk about these deep issues like what's life about, what's the legacy you want to leave before you die, whether there's a God, who are you voting for, why are you voting for, um, what's the purpose of government, have you heard about this economic theory? These are substantial things. They require thought, argumentation, and most people don't want to do it well because, as I've alluded to in other videos, we don't train ourselves to think rationally, to set aside our emotions, and to cultivate a type of rational environment. Well, you know how to start doing that? Well, trying to do it. Um, why do you believe this? What's the evidence that you have? Could that be wrong? What about these competing theories? If you can cultivate this type of environment for your friends and family, you're going to make your entire world better. Granted, it's hard to talk with irrational people. That's true. But imagine an entire generation that could not um, argue or debate about anything. Think about how tribalistic it would be. That would be a shame. So these are the things that you can actually start doing today if you have the will to do it. You can start making videos tomorrow. Jot a few ideas. What do you think is the most valuable thing that you can offer for anybody, for any reason? Do a video on it. Everybody has the technology now. Um, Write a book. Might take a little bit more work, but the fact of organizing your ideas, putting it in chapters, trying to organize your thoughts and to help somebody, because essentially that's what you want to do. Even fiction, I would argue that even good entertainment develops a person to be a better person. That's the way I view fiction anyway. Good fiction inspires you to become a better person. It makes you think about what's important in life. What is the nature of a hero? Are you fitting that paradigm? Things like that. Applying for a job, there's a ton of people that are so amazing at what they do, but they don't see how much they're worth. The reason is because they keep looking at other people to get permission to think they're worth something. But you got to break out of that. You're more than likely worth more than you're getting, and you're not going to get any more because you don't actually assume or act or assert the fact that you are worth more. And people aren't going to respect you more unless you respect yourself. That takes a process of failure. And confidence isn't something that you can just act. There are some, kind of sociopath con men that maybe could pretend, but I can't. It takes practice. And that's like when you apply to jobs, you go to interviews, you present yourself, you present your vision. The more you do that, the more failures that you have, you develop confidence. It's something developed. It's not just something that you get because somebody says it. Okay. The last one, pretend that you're an adult and have rational discussions. That takes a lot of practice. Okay. And you have to wrestle with the idea that you don't know everything, and you have to get used to using this very precious phrase, I don't know. Don't pretend that you know everything. That's absurd. That's one of the things that I've noticed, especially with like YouTube and stuff like that. You see all of these college students, they always want to appear they know everything. And also when I teach undergrads at the university, everybody just wants to seem that they know everything, when in fact they've never even heard of this. Or they're just blindly going along with this idea because they put in the category of the good category. They have no clue what it is or why the argument is the way that it is, etc. So anyways, these are some things that you could do right now. They are all going to make you uncomfortable, but they're all something that would develop you as a person. So I'm trying to take these pieces of advice for myself. I do find that I'm more productive, I have more growth when I do things that actually make me feel very uncomfortable. I don't particularly like going, like talking all the time with other people. I like to, collect my thoughts, have philosophical conversations and stuff like that. So social media itself is kind of an annoyance. But for me, if I'm going out there and I'm challenging, I'm trying to share valuable content, my thoughts are better, I develop better as a person, and it also prevents me from being this isolated silo that, isn't helping, because you can close yourself off and only think about the things that you personally like, even if you're studying good books, but you don't actually take the knowledge and wisdom that you've been working on and putting it into the world. It's kind of a waste, and it kind of atrophies. So anyways, try something that is nourishing, that is scary, that will likely give you some type of failure. If you do that, you are going to be happier in the long run. You're going to make a better difference in people's lives. And also you're going to be a person that you could be proud of, and other people will be inspired by your example. The next thing you know, when you embrace these habits, you're actually going to become an expert. You're going to gain credibility. You're going to become a person that could be looked to solve problems. And even though you probably have several levels of expertise, once you start trying to share your expertise, you actually gain another level of expertise. If you have a vision that you can't communicate, you can't be a good leader. You need a vision, and to refine what that vision is to communicate it. Often you'll find that you don't know what you're trying to say, and it might take hundreds of conversations to pare away the inessentials so that you get that vision crystallized in your mind. So getting the vision, communicating the vision, spreading knowledge that helps other people. If you're genuinely helping people, you're doing something meaningful, and you're developing yourself as a person, you're going to be a much happier person, and you're going to be helping the world. So those are the thoughts for me today. You guys have a great day, and you guys have a great week.